Guys, this is major escalation. The Russians are preparing for a large-scale war with NATO. Yes, the Russians are stationing tactical nuclear weapons on the battlefield. Vladimir Putin sent a strong warning to the West. He reminded the West that Russia equally have weapons that can reach the West and America, so they should be very careful. Now, why is Russia preparing for a large-scale war? Well, there's an audio leak. I don't know how the Russians got the audio, but according to the audio, NATO is fighting on the battlefield. Yes, I remember when the war began, some of us told you guys that NATO is fighting on the battlefield. And some people were like, oh, NATO is not fighting, blah, blah, blah. How far? According to the audio, some American citizens are even in civilian clothes fighting on the battlefield on behalf of, Ukraine. I thought the whole thing was propaganda. Guys, it's not propaganda. In fact, Germany has confirmed it. Olaf Scholz claimed that he's going to launch an investigation as to how, this audio got leaked. So the whole thing is true. Now, their war plans, everything is now in the hands of the Russians. Interesting. According to the leaked audio, Germany and some countries will send long-range weapons to Ukraine and pretend as if they know nothing about it. Yes, in fact, some of them will even be on the battlefield fighting, but they will deny it that they are not there fighting. That is what these guys are planning. And their whole plan is now in the hands of the Russians. So guys, check this video out. RT reported this. In fact, RT leaked the whole audio. Check it out.
So it's a disaster for NATO, and of course, Moscow wants answers. Marina, shocking to say the least, right? Shocking. So, as you've rightly mentioned, Russia's clearly been listening. They obviously have something to say. What have you been hearing on the Russian side? Yes, first up, we heard from Maria Zakharova, the spokeswoman for Russia's Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and she said their silence could equal admission of guilt.
It's called covering your tracks. Is this going to follow the same scenario as the German investigation of the terrorist attacks on the Nord Streams? German citizens should know from Scholz about the rights of a foreign person in Russia, Belarus, or China, but not about their German rights.
Now, Russia has always insisted that NATO is more involved than it's actually saying that it is or claims that it is. But now we actually hear it literally from the horse's mouth, from the senior military officers in Germany. And then we also heard from Sergei Lavrov, Russia's Minister of Foreign Affairs, who, of course, broke down each and every claim in these leaks and just how outrageous it is.
This conversation contains several curious things, including a discussion between German generals on how to more cunningly supply Ukraine with long-range weapons to attack the Crimean Bridge and ammunition depots, as well as how to remain unnoticed while doing so, because Chancellor Scholz supposedly doesn't like that. Yet the Americans and the Brits are already there. Perhaps there was also a conversation about whether it was possible to remotely aim those missiles beyond Ukraine. But one of the generals objected to that idea, saying that such a step would mean their direct participation. So they clearly understand what they are talking about. In one of the exchanges, someone says bluntly that there are Americans in civilian clothing on the ground. So it's obvious that our NATO colleagues have a finger in the pie. I don't know how they will explain this to the public.
So isn't it interesting? We have all this talk and fear-mongering from the West saying Russia is planning to attack Europe. You need to make sure you're ready, build your defenses. When in fact, behind the scenes, we have them planning to attack Russian infrastructure. All I can do right now is shake my head. Thank you, Senator Artis Marina Kosareva, for that excellent reporting. We'll be back to you as soon as you know more. Thank you. Absolutely. Also, on the leak tape, a German officer said the Taurus missiles could destroy the Crimean Bridge if they are launched from French fighter jets. We spoke to a geopolitical analyst and aviation expert who says Ukraine cannot use such advanced weapons without NATO.
today, no one can tell and I don't know myself, even as a pilot myself, if that missile can be used with the Dassault Rafale. We know that it can be used with F-18, F-15, Saab Gripen, Euro Typhoon. If Germany was to provide those missiles to Ukrainians, Ukrainians that do not have the capability to use those missiles. First, the MiG-29 needs to be retrofitted to use those missiles, and it would anyway require the help of people who has the knowledge. So, once again, when you have new systems appearing on the battlefield that are directly operable, make no mistakes, it's not Ukrainians that are behind. It's people who has the knowledge, like with the Patriot system, like with the IRIS-T system. Make no mistakes. From the very beginning, we know that French has special forces diluted into Ukraine, as well as the UK and Germany also. That's not something that is unknown. We're just obeying to European Union and United States and NATO. That's all. We're just puppets.
And now Berlin has not yet given any official statement since the audio tape was published on Friday. RT editor-in-chief Margarita Simonaya was the first to reveal the contents of the bombshell conversation.
This audio recording speaks for itself. Just after I published the first text about it, there were a lot of skeptics, and media outlets called me and wrote to me saying it couldn't be true. But it is. It's the real audio. 4 German military officers referring to the German Air Force and discussing how to bomb Russia's bridge to Crimea and how many missiles it will take, 10 or 20, and how to do so that no one is aware of anything, so that Chancellor Scholz could continue to claim that he's not involved in the conflict and NATO does not participate in the conflict and that it's not in his backyard. They also exposed their British and American partners, saying they're already working in Ukraine. In general, there are lots of interesting things. Be sure to listen. I wonder how the Germans will respond to it.
The bridge linking Russia's mainland and its peninsula Crimea was constructed back in 2018. It's one of Europe's longest bridges, stretching far 19 kilometers from shore to shore. The bridge allows the free and speedy flow of goods to Crimea and easier access from the Russian mainland. Earlier, we spoke to Pierre-Emmanuel Thoman, a geopolitics expert and president of the international organization Eurocontinent. He says EU leaders are panicking over Germany growing its military power again under the US's watch.
In Europe, many countries think they are suspicious of Germany becoming again a military power, especially France. Although they both support Ukraine against Russia, France and Germany have different geopolitical interests. France would like to position itself as the leader of EU, militarized EU, and it's an opportunistic way in Ukraine to position France in competition with Germany. But Germany, as I said, has geopolitical objectives to control Ukraine, to take it out of Russia, but in synergy with the United States. And it reveals also there is a sense of panic among Europeans because of possibility of Trump elections, and Europeans suddenly will feel alone in Europe. And this is why also you had this comment about Macron a few days ago about troops on the ground, which reveals political games within France, but also at a European level. And Germany refused. They say, no, there is no way Germans can put troops on the ground.
How does that comment look now? I mean, when Macron said that there was a possibility of putting NATO boots on the ground in Ukraine, the rest of Europe said, whoa, we're not on board with that. But now we have this leak, which shows that Germany hasn't been completely honest. How does that comment look?
Exactly. So we learn that, well, experts knew it, but there are already some special troops, instructors, people who give information with Ukraine. So as I said, they have been lying for the last 2 years to the citizens. But it's a question of red line. Will they put more troops massively? I think they won't, because you can see there is a fear of Europeans to be left out if Trump is re-elected. And actually,
Thanks for watching the video. Please make sure to hit on the like button. If you are not following, please make sure to follow so that you will not miss any interesting updates. Thank you.